In this episode of Marina Queen, I talk a little bit about how I'm feeling in the lead up to this trip to San Diego. We delay our departure date due to changing weather conditions, and I discuss some of our emergency communications gear. My name is Rick. Join me as I refit sailing vessel Frog's Leap with an eye towards taking her to warmer places. I get to spend only a few days each month on the boat. That's why I call the channel Marina Queen. Well, today is Tuesday, and tomorrow I'm boarding a plane, and well, we're going to get started with this trip, this epic journey down the coast. I heard it once said something like, like 98% of the people in the country, in the United States, never leave the country. And those that do, the vast majority of them have been to Mexico or Canada. I think it's kind of like that. Lots of people own boats. Lots of people go out on the bay. But how many of them dare to go offshore? And by offshore, I don't mean sticking your nose outside the gate. I mean getting offshore and doing a passage. But I've never done it as a civilian. And so this is one of those things that is really meaningful for me. It's something I want to do in my life. It's a bucket list thing for me. It is what it is. And I'm super excited to be gearing up for this trip. The day before, it's not jitters, it's not anxiety, it's not fear. I mean, I've felt this before. I remember when I was trying to demonstrate to my CO that I could drive the boat. Yes, I got a chance. It's like that. Yeah, I feel like that. It's exciting. It's exciting. I haven't felt it in decades. That's why I bought the boat. A lot of times people try to establish crew and they have no luck. You gotta have a boat, and then you gotta get crew, and you gotta want to sail with that crew. Trying to find crew that you'd want to spend time with, it's challenging. Now, this is pretty funny. Right after I got done recording that last segment about the challenges and difficulties of trying to put crew together, Nolan texted me to tell me he was not going to be able to make the trip. But it must be serious because this is a pretty epic trip that you might get once in your life. So hopefully everyone in his orbit is healthy. Just wishing the best for him right now. So we're getting more clarity on the weather too. Normally you'll get northwesterlies, and even in my trip planning video, I assumed northwesterlies the whole way down. There's a high pressure system that's persistent off the Pacific coast of the United States. And it's named. It has a name, right? The North Pacific High. A high pressure system has a clockwise rotation. And this clockwise rotation of the North Pacific High brings consistent northwest winds off the coast of the bay. But if you go into predict wind and you zoom way out to where you can see Baja and Hawaii right now, you will see Hurricane Linda. And you will see, when you do the time lapse, you will see why that's significant. Hurricane Linda is a low pressure system, and it has a counterclockwise rotation. And that clockwise rotation of the North Pacific High, the southern part of that, is being pulled offshore by Linda. Well, the upshot of all of this is that during the time when we were planning to leave the bay and do the offshore passage, for like a period of potentially up to 4 days, we could be facing southerlies. So it would be a bash potentially all the way to San Simeon. Well, in light of the evolving weather situation, Patrick and I have decided we're going to hold off departing until the effects of Linda dissipate off the bay. So right now, we're thinking probably a Sunday departure. So recently had a little get-together here at the house, and my sister came by and she asked me if I thought sailing was more risky or less risky than motorcycling, because before I got into sailing, I was into motorcycling for a good number of years, decades, I think it's fair to say. And I said sailing, but I don't think that's true. There are fewer sailors than motorcyclists. If you look at statistics, like we do with airplanes, how many people fly? Oh, it's safer than cars. I think it's the same way. I think motorcycling is by far more dangerous than sailing. Now, that's not to say that the severity of the risk is not the same in both. Of course, that's the risk in living, so it's up to you. What is the plan should something go catastrophically wrong out there? And that is something that's worth talking about, I think, for sure. I think, first of all, we've done pretty good on the PPE. Dry suits and Mustang suits, baby. Yeah, it's probably a little overkill, baby. In terms of communicating with search and rescue providers, the first mechanism that we have is the VHF radio. Oh, yeah. And it's great. If we're close enough to shore, we can communicate with the Coast Guard directly. If we are reasonably close to shore, we might be able to relay with another vessel and talk with the Coast Guard. Even if you're hundreds of miles offshore, there could be other vessels out there that hear it. Now, if our VHF calls are unsuccessful, this is my Garmin GPS map 86 SCI. Oh, yeah. Excellent. It connects to the Iridium satellite network to do two-way messaging, and it has an SOS feature. So there is a search and rescue desk. Its sole purpose is to respond to SOS calls made by these devices. And when it responds via a text message. So you still get two-way communications. So this is the PLB-1. This is a personal locator beacon made by a company called Ocean Signal. Oh yeah. And it's pretty easy to use. This is the antenna right here, this black thing. And you just pull it up. You can see that's, and then there's a flap here, and you press the red button. This will start flashing. That tells you that your PLB is transmitting, right? So the flashing light on here just tells you it's transmitting. You still have to keep the thing like this so the signal gets sent and gets received properly, right? But if you're using this is your last resort. So the other thing I want to talk about is about this thing. I can also send tracking points through this. Oh yeah. I'm going to try to post one an hour. Now you can go to this website at any time during our transit, and you can kind of see where we're at with the transit, which is pretty cool. This channel puts out videos every Sunday. So being regular like that, I can get ahead of schedule. In fact, right now, I am a month ahead of schedule. The next two videos will come out while we're doing the trip. So the only way you're going to be able to know that we're doing the trip is if you've seen the videos or you're following us on the Garmin MapShare, which, by the way, is super easy to use. I mean, there's a URL right there. Just type that URL into your phone in the URL bar and press go, and you're going to be sent to a map. It just shows all of the tracking points that I've sent. So I'll send a tracking point at each of our destinations and our start point. And I'll also send a tracking point every hour while we're underway. Or at least that's the goal. Right. So the first video that's going to be documenting the trip is going to air on September 19th. That's the big day. You know, and there is another wrinkle that was thrown in the mix this week. Apparently starting on the 20th, California is implementing the requirement to get into businesses and whatnot that you have to prove your vaccination status. I didn't want to bring my original card because it's paper and I'm on a boat and I don't want to ruin it, right? But as it turns out, it's laminated. So I'm probably going to bring it. You know, these cards don't easily fit in your wallet. You know, they should be wallet sized, right? If we're supposed to use them as proof. I don't know. I got my papers. Well, thanks for watching another episode of Marina Queen. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more, press that subscribe button. Yes, sir. I'll see you next week on the boat. New episode every Sunday. I'm not as think as you confused I am. Oh yeah.